New York's classic rock, Q1043.
I want to introduce you to John Fee. He retired as an FDNY lieutenant after 25 years with the FDNY, but he is still a volunteer firefighter and member of the Freeport Truck Company. And he still continues to serve his community in other ways, which is why John Fee is joining us this morning. First of all, thank you for all your good work all these years as a firefighter. It's just an honor to meet you. But now you've started an organization called Never Forget Lacrosse, and you have a big event coming up on Saturday. So welcome and tell us about it.
Good morning. It's nice to be here. I was given the honor to commemorate the Memorial Garden at U.S. Lacrosse headquarters. And it was created in order to memorialize all those lost from the lacrosse community on September 11th. The only real organized teams that they knew of were the FDNY and the NYPD. So we went down there and played, and it was just awe-inspiring. They had this memorial, and it looked like just these fugazi 6 pieces of metal blowing away in the wind. And after a minute, you realized, and after I talked to the director, those were the Indian spirits, and it was moving, and it brought back the roots of the game, where it started. And when the game was over, I asked if there was any Trade Center steel used. They didn't have any when they built it. They didn't know what that was. So I decided to Google lacrosse, firefighter, and Washington, and came up with a fire chief in Baltimore. We put together a game the following year, presented them with steel from both the Pentagon, the Trade Center, and everybody was like, hey, we should do a tournament. And I was like, okay. And the next year, I put this tournament together, and like the movie said, if you build it, they'll come. And we had 8 teams show up, first responders, all NYPD, FDNY, Suffolk County Police, Nassau County Police. Actually, the Mohawk Nation came from Canada. A team came from Baltimore. And we started a tournament. And at the end of it, we had raised $11,000. And I realized this wasn't going to be just a one and done thing. We donated that money to the Tunnel to Towers, the Steven Siller Foundation, and to U.S. Lacrosse's program that starts up lacrosse programs in the underserved communities. So the next year we put it together, and I decided this was more than I wanted to handle. There was no real accountability. So what we did is we created a board. We became a 501c3. Nobody's paid in this organization. It's all great guys. And the caveat was this year, I noticed that the NYPD had a women's team. And this young lady, Megan Forsell, who plays on the team, runs it. I contacted with her, and we incorporated a women's bracket. And it only brought it full circle. And we have 3 goals with the Never Forget Lacrosse Foundation, and that is play our game, memorialize those we've lost, and raise funds. And every dime goes back to the community. Just on one point, what we do is we try to find the small foundations that are lacrosse tied and give them to those foundations. And it's been very successful. And this Saturday, we've connected with the New York Riptide, the indoor professional lacrosse team that plays in the Nassau Coliseum. They had approached us. They have a first responders appreciation night on January 29th at 7:30. And to commemorate that, we're going to play a cop fire department game prior. And it's all the guys from all the teams that play in our tournament. And as I said, we have a Native American that's going to come down from Canada and play in the tournament. And we got guys coming from all over. And it's just a way for us to give back to the guys that have now raised the funds that we're going to be able to give to those little foundations that need the help, that don't necessarily get it and are overseen.
First of all, that's incredible. Where is the game? Where are the lacrosse games held?
This game is going to be played on Saturday at the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York.
Okay. Well, that's like historic, iconic. That's fantastic. What sort of organizations do you give the money to specifically?
Okay. There's another foundation that's called Shootout for Soldiers. And what they do is they have a 24-hour tournament. Kids, adults, girls, women, men, youth, and it goes for 24 hours and they raise funds. And while they're there, it's to support the military organizations that for those that are injured and have passed. And we went to that tournament, and I go to all the different tables, and I saw this beautiful young, beautiful woman, we'll say, and she reminded me of my mother. She was in her 70s, and she was sitting at this tent. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and I went over and I took a card and I says, "What do you do?" And her son, unfortunately, was killed in Afghanistan or Iraq. I don't remember. But what I do remember is he was a lacrosse player on Long Island. And I asked her about her foundation, and she owns a ranch out in New Mexico. And when these servicemen and women come back, it's a chance for them to go out to a ranch, debrief, decompress before they step back into the reality of life. And we donated to her, and we're in the process now of because of COVID, we haven't been able to have our board meeting from our last tournament, which was a phenomenal success. We raised over 20 grand, but those are the types of foundations we like to find. The ones that nobody knows about. I found another one on a brochure in a car wash, and we sit as a board, we talk about it. And one of the other things we do is we've made available scholarships and grants for kids that are now in college, still playing from the underserved community. We will be issuing 2 $1,000 grants. They're open to anybody. You can apply if they get in touch with us. We have a website, Never Forget Lacrosse @gmail.com, and they can tell us about themselves and why they need the scholarship and how they could use it. And we've done it before. And this year's recipients, we will be giving one of them out at this game in memory of a guy named Ray Sipley, who's been a great supporter of the lacrosse community for years and has sponsored men's team for over 30 years. And this tournament, we raised enough that we can give out some scholarships, and 2 of those will be one of the scholarships is for a kid playing in Iowa from Miami. So it's not just a New York thing. We look to reach out across the whole community and find those in need.
But you're talking about students who are also lacrosse players, right?
These 2 are, but the scholarships are open to anyone.
Oh, okay.
Under NCAA rules, we can't just pigeonhole the lacrosse community. So it's our way of giving back, and it makes you feel good. And just on a side note, 20 years ago was one of the hardest times in all of our lives. It changed us drastically, and every guy that was there, every woman that was there was impacted. And I unfortunately had the beauty of knowing a guy named Ronnie Clover. He was an NYPD cop, and we were going to Chicago that weekend to play as a joint FDNY NYPD team. And I was talking to him. He was at work. I was at work. And I was like, "I'll see you Friday." And unfortunately, the next morning was September 11th. And you sit and you go, you spend your life thinking, how did I make it? Why am I alive? And you try to live your life in their eyes so that you don't disrespect the people they were. And this tournament is named, our tournament is named the Ronnie Clofer Trophy after him. Great dude. For 2 hours a year, I can't stand the guy when we're playing each other. But the rest of the time, I love the guy. We would play each other, and then we'd go back to the bar, and we drink together. And one of us was celebrative, and one of us wasn't, but we were together. And you try to live your life by hopefully memorializing these people, and he's one of them. And this is how I give back, and it's a great feeling, and it's an awesome responsibility because you're doing it in the name of others.
I'm speaking with John Fee. He is retired as an FDNY lieutenant after 25 years with the FDNY. He currently volunteers as a firefighter and member of the Freeport Truck Company. He founded Never Forget Lacrosse, and they have a big event Saturday 29th. They'll be playing a game before the New York Riptide game, and Never Forget Lacrosse will be recognized and honored by the Riptide during this match on Saturday. And what you didn't say, and this always just, it's so hard for me to wrap my head around this, because the FDNYers, well, all first responders, you're the first to respond, and you're the last people to ask for help. You're always helping others. And what you failed to say is that you're now on disability from the FDNY because of your own 9/11 illness. How is your health?
Unfortunately, I do have issues, but every day is a good day. I lost a childhood friend. We grew up together. We worked in the same firehouse together. And unfortunately, Keith Young passed in 2017 from 9/11 issues. So I'm not going to complain. Is my life different? Definitely. But I'm grateful that I'm still here, and I can have the beauty of being able to let those guys and those women live vicariously through me. So, yeah, I got my issues, but I'm not going to be. I'm the last one that's going to be complaining about it.
How do you view life differently now than you did 20 years ago? How old were you 20 years ago on 9/11?
I was 40 years old. I didn't need that day to give me gratitude. I think I've been a grateful person. The hardest thing in my life that ever happened was my son at the time was 2 years old, and I had to hand him to a nurse that took him in a room, and we weren't sure if he was coming out. So I think that moment in my life drastically changed how I looked and my perception of today. And since then, I've looked at it differently. 9/11 definitely made me more cognizant of the relationships I have and the importance of them. And I definitely want to say one other point. This isn't about cops and firemen, this game. This is about all those nurses, all those doctors, and everyone else that, you see a car accident, but you don't understand the magnitude of the mental effect it has on everybody that has to see this. Not only us at the scene, but that doctor and that nurse and those people in the ER and the people, anybody that sees that, you don't just go home and it goes away. And this is a day for us. This game is to honor all of those people. With all the unfortunate negative social media that's going on, a lot of them don't see that part of it. And that's what makes us different, is the fact that we are willing to take on that burden, yet we know that there's going to be lasting effects, but we do it anyway because it's just who we are. And that's who everybody should be.
That's right. And that's why I always say you are the best of the best. Buy your tickets for the Saturday game, Nassau Coliseum, Heroes Night lacrosse game, New York, Riptide, and support Never Forget Lacrosse. And thank you for everything you have done and continue to do, John Fee. It was an honor to have you as a guest this morning. And if you missed any part of this interview, download the iHeart Radio app. It is free, and my podcasts live on under Sunstein Sessions. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the Jim Kerr Rock and Roll Morning Show, Q104.3.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.